So in this space, as we are open, let us turn this divine light to our world. My world is opening, opening. My world is opening, opening. So in this divine open space, we send a loving blessing out to the world. Let us lift our arms wide open, keeping our heart open and our mind to know that in this very moment, there's a divine action taking place. That in this very instant, the healing presence of the universe is taking place. That this opportunity to walk in this moment right now is the greatest gift of all, for it is the gift of life that is expressing through each and every one of us. So as we know that this open heart and mind and spirit opens our life to a divine new awareness that all things are possible, that the good of God is happening in this moment right now. So let us rest in this as we reflect the light of love out into the universe to all that are around. And as Brock told us, the light comes in and we breathe love out. So breathing love out into the world, blessing all, those that are awake and those that are not, those that are in pain, those that are loving, those that are in divine peace and those that are in chaos, those that are in fear and those that are in faith. We bless our world. We bless this knowingness that all of us, we are all one and we are all connected.
Thank you, Gino. Wow, what a powerful blessing. What a powerful experience of awakening, of allowing the light to pour in and to allow the love to radiate out. Welcome. Welcome this evening. My name is Darmini Cabanillas. I'm one of the licensed practitioners at Universal Spirit Center, and I am so grateful to be here with each of you at this time. And I'm also so grateful and appreciative for Gino offering me this opportunity to share. And I'm so grateful for those behind the scenes, Corey and Sarah, who are here. Woohoo! And I'm so grateful for Linda being here on sound. Thank you. It feels good to be in community, even if it is limited. And check this out. Look at this wonderful image behind me. This is an image reminding us that growth happens even in the roughest, most paved over surfaces. That growth and that light and that spiritual truth will always come forward. And so tonight, what we're going to explore is the wisdom of the body and cultivating new perspectives. And we're going to consider how we can tap into the spiritual wisdom, the spiritual truth through the wisdom of our body. So I invite you to take this trip along with me. Right now, we happen to be at a time where there's a storm of events, right? If it's not one thing, it's another. And any one of the things is really and truly enough to be stressful, to say the least. But to have all of them at the same time, it's really, really overwhelming. So we've got racial violence happening. We have people dying. We have people experiencing selfishness and greed and doing it in an outspoken way. We have fires raging through California. We have hurricane hitting Florida. We have all of this in the backdrop of the pandemic. And if anyone else is in Southern California, we have this incredible heat wave, right? It's hotter than it's ever been. So it's just like one thing on top of the other. Then plus all of that, along with whatever's going on in your life, going on in my life. So the personal things too. So this is a lot. This is a lot. And we have choices about how we're going to react, how we're going to respond. And so I'm going to talk about some of the choices that we have. One choice is to resist it, to say no to it, to say, this is all wrong, it's got to change, it's got to stop. I'm not going to sit back and take no for an answer. I am fighting back, right? So we've got the fight response. Then another response that some of us might take, another reaction is, I'm out of here. And that may be physically, and that may be emotionally or spiritually. So it's this, I'm getting out. Like either I'm geographically leaving and I'm going to get out of Dodge, or it might be in a more subtle way. Like I'm just going to go kind of numb out doing something else. Maybe it's some kind of intoxication, or maybe it's some kind of way to be in an obsessive cycle that just kind of numbs us from what's going on. And then another reaction that we might experience is just simply stopping, just feeling paralyzed. Just, I can't move. I don't know what to do. I'm stuck. I don't know how to handle this. And these three reactions, the fight, the flight, and the freeze, this is typical of the survival brain. This is how our brain has functioned in order to help us survive, to keep us alive. This is a really important part of our makeup. But it's not the best way to respond to what's going on. In the long haul, it tends to do a lot of damage. It can do damage on our own bodies, and it does damage out there in the world. Because we're shutting down, because we're fighting, we're blaming, we're judging, or we're just simply freezing and running away and numbing out. The energy of what's going on, though, it gets trapped. And what we have a tendency to do is this trauma, this hurt, this tension, this pressure, it gets tucked away in our bodies, maybe in the neck and the shoulders, maybe in the belly and the gut, maybe in the hips, the knees, the ankles. And it shows up in all kinds of ways that it's not part of the conscious process. So I had an experience where I got to observe someone in the fight mode. I was walking down a path, and a man was, he had some garbage bags, and it seemed like he was collecting the garbage. And we passed by and acknowledged each other. And then he asked me for help. And I said, okay, what do you need help with? He said he was trying to clean up an encampment that was kind of in the bushes, and would I keep a watch out on the path to make sure that no one came, like maybe the owner of the encampment didn't show up. And I thought, well, this is odd. So I stood there and I listened and I watched and I noticed, and I felt something inside of me of, what if this encampment, what if this is someone's prized possessions? What if this is what brings someone a sense of security, a sense of feeling at peace inside of them? I thought that was interesting. And he came out of the bushes, and I made that comment to him, and And he said, yeah, you may be right. But I live just up there, and if there's someone living down here, it's a threat. Because a year ago, someone came up and they set the house next door on fire, and I just don't want that to happen to me. I don't want that to happen to my house. And I said, I hear you. I hear you. And we went on our way, and it got me thinking about what's going on here. I need to feel safe and secure. And I feel threatened by something outside of me. And so this fight response, this fight reaction is, let me change what's going on out there. Let me fix it. Let me adjust it to kind of remove the threat so that I can feel okay in here. And so it got me thinking about, well, whose inner security becomes more important? Is it the inner security of the person, of the owner of the items in the encampment? Or is it the inner security of the man who is feeling threatened by the presence of the encampment? Whose security is more important? Whose security is right? Whose security is supreme? Let's take a breath there and hear. So as long as I am choosing to fix and adjust and change what's going on outside to address the discomfort that I'm feeling inside, I'm going to continue and continue and continue to need to address the dials out there. But another choice is to go within and to be in the discomfort, to be with the tension, to be with the pressure, and to give it some space to move. Give it some space, as Resma Meerkim says in his book, My Grandmother's Hands, to metabolize. As Michael Brown says in the presence process, an opportunity to integrate charged emotion. So how do we do that? Well, it happens in our body. And I'll tell you, it doesn't happen when I'm shrunk down in the weeds, when I'm stuck in, I'm right, you're wrong, when I'm stuck in, oh my God, this threat is too big, I can't take it, when I'm stuck in my mind that is thoughts generating more and more about the threat and about the danger, feeding on itself and feeding on itself. It's really important that I get some perspective. I need to get a little bit of distance from the situation. Now, I made a reference to My Grandmother's Hands and the presence process. And in both of these books, both of the authors talk about growing up, maturing in consciousness. You see, it's a very young approach to the world to say, world, you have to behave a certain way in order for me to feel okay. That's giving away my power. That is placing a lot of conditions on the world around me. In these two books, the authors talk about, they provide specific ways to grow up spiritually, to grow up emotionally, to grow up in consciousness, to take responsibility, to call back our power. And so tonight, we're going to walk through what that can look like. We're going to have that experience together in our bodies. Now, we all have challenges. I named quite a few at the beginning. I invite you to call to mind a challenge that you're currently dealing with. Maybe there's a pressure or a tension, a discomfort that you're experiencing. Now, discomfort, tension, pressure, conflict, these are not bad things. These are part of life. They are part of the creative process. The friction is required for growth to happen. You see, the seed doesn't pop open without there being some friction and pressure. The diamonds don't turn into diamonds without a tremendous amount of pressure. So it's not that the pressure is bad and that we have to find a way to avoid all discomfort. No, it's just about how am I going to show up to it? How am I going to meet it and interact with it? And so we can do that if we are open to the possibility that these challenges are opportunities for learning, for growth, and for healing. So what we're going to do is I invite you to call to mind the situation, maybe close your eyes, place your hands on your heart, call to mind the situation, and set an intention to see the opportunity in this challenge. Call on the masters and teachers of light that work with you. Call on the unconditional love and support that surrounds you. Call upon it. And set your intention to open your mind, to open your heart, to open your life, to open your world to this opportunity. And we're going to allow for some assistance from my friend Carl Sagan. We have a 5-minute video of him bringing us into a new vantage point, a new perspective, so that we can consider this situation and consider this challenge, consider this discomfort from a different altitude. So tune in to this wonderful video now.
From this distant vantage point, the Earth might not seem of any particular interest. But for us, it's different. Consider again that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam. The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by all those generals and emperors, so that in glory and triumph they could become the momentary masters of a fraction of a dot. Think of the endless cruelties visited by the inhabitants of one corner of this pixel on the scarcely distinguishable inhabitants of some other corner. How frequent their misunderstandings, how eager they are to kill one another, how fervent their hatreds. Our posturings, our imagined self-importance, the delusion that we have some privileged position in the universe, are challenged by this point of pale light. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. The Earth is the only world known so far to harbor life. There is nowhere else, at least in the near future, to which our species could migrate. Visit? Yes. Settle? Not yet. Like it or not, for the moment, the Earth is where we make our stand. It has been said that astronomy is a humbling and character-building experience. There is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known.
Thank you, Carl Sagan, for these words. Thank you for this opportunity to consider everything from a new vantage point, from a higher altitude. Thank you for this opportunity to reconsider all that's going on the pale blue dot. Carl Sagan talks about the conflict that has happened, the rivers of blood that has been spilled. And he talks about the frequent misunderstandings, the eagerness to kill another, the fervent hatred and the posturings and the imagined self-importance. And as I listen to it, it's so easy to think that that's theirs over there, right? Those people over there. But because of my need to consider what's being reflected to me in the mirror, I must ask myself about my frequent understandings, my eagerness to kill, my own hatred, my posturing, my imagined self-importance, the delusion that I have some privileged position in the universe, and how that is challenged by this pale blue dot. You see that I have this privileged position to only ever feel safe and secure inside, to never feel discomfort, and to need the whole world to change so that I can feel better. Well, this pale blue dot tells me that I'm part of a vast universe. And it also tells me that as vast as it is, and the possibility of life, sure, it's out there, we haven't encountered it yet. So if I'm waiting for something out there to come and save me, I may be waiting a long time. And so instead, Carl Sagan is offering this invitation to be kind to each other here and to cherish our home here. And I believe that begins with me. Now, how does this connect to the body, you may be asking? Well, from my perspective, when we zoom way out and consider the earth as the pale blue dot, we all know from our experience living here that it's not just this one little cell. No, there are many, many, many parts. There's all kinds of particles in it. It's like there's so many different factions. There's borders, there's divisions, there's separations, there's all kinds of distinctions that each one of us lives with and encounters all the time. Well, that's similar to my body. That you look at my body and it looks like it's just one entity, right? Well, there's a whole bunch of different organs inside here, and there's a whole bunch of different cells, and they're all doing a different purpose. But each of them is important for the well-being of the whole. And I wonder if that's not also true for our planet, that we are all interdependent. We are all integral parts of the whole. We all have a role, we all have a function. And so the storms that we see, the pressure, the conflict, the hatred, the anger, all of this is where hurt and terror and pain has been stored. It got stuck. It's cycles of energy that got stopped in their tracks, and it got stuck. And so it's just living out this unconscious repetition of harm and harm and harm. And a lot of this trauma has been passed down throughout the generations. It's racialized trauma, it's intergenerational trauma, it's family trauma, it's ethnic trauma. There's so many ways that this shows up. And so what it's calling for is it's calling for us to not fix it, to not fight with it, to not run away from it, to not ignore it, but to instead engage with it, get involved, come present to it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to practice doing that in our body, and we're going to see how we can utilize that strategy as a way to help metabolize and to help integrate the charged emotion of the trauma, of the pain, of the discomfort, of the friction, of the pressure that is building and building and building in our world. So, let's get started. What do you say? Let's get started. So I invite you to come to standing. What we're going to do is we're going to watch a cycle of energy. We're just going to simply be with the cycle of energy. So this isn't about mind. This isn't about analysis. This isn't about managing. It's not about figuring it out. It's about just simply getting curious and being present to it. All right? So let's get grounded here and now. So feel your feet on the ground. Notice your feet there. And take a look around you. Take a look around at your space. And take a look behind you. That's important. And when you take a look behind you, let that stretch happen. Your whole body twist. Because that's opening, that's giving signals to your nervous system saying, it's okay. It's okay. No threat. Look up. Take a look up. Take a look down. Okay, now that you've really checked out your surroundings, now you might feel a little bit more comfortable closing your eyes. So I invite you, if you would like to, close your eyes. Wrap one arm around the front of you and one arm around the back of you. like you're embracing yourself. Let yourself drop into this embrace. Notice anywhere where you may be holding, anywhere where there may be some tension or discomfort. Notice also where there might be some relaxation or some settling. And as you're standing here, notice a place within where there is some softness. Maybe place a hand on your heart. Maybe let your other arm just fall to the side. Maybe you want to put it on your belly. Just allow yourself to tune into a little bit of softness. And as you allow some of the outer shell, the outer armor to melt away, maybe just one layer, maybe two. Maybe you want to take off the cloak of protection and defense. Just let it go. And you can even bring your arms up and back so that you're consciously letting go of these layers of protection, layers of defense. And now start to bounce. Start to bounce. Maybe shrug your shoulders. Loosen your jaw. Breathe. Oh yeah. Let's breathe. Inhale. And exhale. And shake. And shake. And just notice as you're shaking. Notice where you feel some constriction. Maybe it's in your belly. Maybe it's in your neck. If you feel like it, put your arm on that place. If you want to move more and shake more, you can move more and shake more. Maybe you want to bring your hands over your head. Maybe your arms want to fly all around. That's okay. Maybe you just want to shake one leg or the other leg. Maybe you want to shake your head no. All of the times you've wanted to say no, 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 no. If you want to let out some sound, let out some sound. No, no. Maybe there's a yes. Maybe there is something that you've been wanting to say yes to. Yes. Maybe you can only let a whisper out. Yes. Roll your shoulders. Let yourself move. Let it move. Watch it unwind. Doesn't have to be wrong. You don't have to figure it out. Just let it wiggle. Let it shake. See, it's this loosening of the outer edge. This loosening of the armor. The loosening of the asphalt. The crumbling away. The crumbling away of the structures, of the limitations, of the misunderstandings, of the beliefs in needing to protect. And it's because this life wants to come through. This is the cycle of energy that is happening. It is life. It is God. It is creation. It is magnificence building up. Something new is being born. So give yourself a last little shake. we're going to clear the energy field. So arms up over your head, and then down. And like you're wiping the energy all around your body and letting it go through your fingertips. Let's do that again. Like you've got a paintbrush in your hands and you're just lifting it up and out and brushing it off. Just clearing it out from the back of your head, from every part of you, just letting it go. Yes. And now let's come back into stillness. Come back into the breath. Feeling your feet on the floor. Noticing the sensations in your body. Maybe there's tingling. Maybe there's heat. Maybe there's a color. Maybe there's a whole new way of considering the challenge. That before this experience it was a challenge, and now there may be an opportunity that you're seeing. What's that like? And if you're watching and you feel called to post a chat, post a comment, you can share about what newness you may be aware of or what you're noticing in your body. Feel free to share that so that other viewers are also able to see. And I invite you to share it as a way to anchor and invite in this newness, this new birth that is seeking to happen. So, what did we just do? We noticed the energy. We noticed the challenge. We noticed the discomfort. We noticed what was going on in our body. We were present to it, and we allowed it to move. We allowed it to unwind. We allowed it to metabolize. We allowed the stuck energy to move and to shift. And this is what we've been working with in the book study on my grandmother's hands that Sarah Adams has led. And it's been a powerful experience of going into racialized trauma. And as the author Resmaa Menakem talks about, he says that we need to begin with our own bodies. We need to be with the hurt, the pain, the trauma in our own bodies. We need to grow up ourselves. That is a really important first step, and you get to do that. You get to do that. I'm doing that. I'm doing that right now. It's intense work, and it's really relevant, and it's really important. And I'm so committed to doing this that we're going to start the presence process, which is a different author, Michael Brown. It's a 10-week experience, but it is the same idea of going into those places of unconscious, stuck energy where those traumas of old memories, of hurt, of discomfort, and the ways of coping with it, of just numbing out to it, we're going to go in there and we're going to consciously unwind it, integrate it, let it move so that it is no longer in charge of us and running us, running me, running you without our permission, without our conscious approval of it. And why are we doing this? Why? Because new life is happening. New life is happening, and it's so important that each one of us creates the space within our bodies, within our minds, within our hearts, within our souls, within our consciousness to allow for this new birth, for this newness to come into being. So it's not about saying no to it or saying, I don't like where you're headed. This isn't okay with me. What it's about is asking the newness, what are you seeking to be? How can I assist you in coming into being? How can I support? And the ways that you and I can support is by going in and being a conscious presence of loving to those places inside. Consciously cultivating the new perspective of love and of peace and of hope within us, and sharing that out in the world, because we are simply radiating it from within us. So, as a way to close, let's go into our bodies again, and I invite you to extend your hands out to either side. So it's like you've got these two opposing places, these two opposing sides that have been at odds with each other. And what are we going to do? We're going to consciously and lovingly and gently bring them together. Bring them together into prayer position, into the heart space, into the heart center. So I invite you to bow down to the strength of your heart, to your courage, to the purity, to the innocence within you that always resides there. And I invite you to lift this up to your third eye. Clarity of thought, clarity of vision, so that we may see clearly in this 2020. So that we may see and know spiritual truth. And then I invite you to release it, to surrender your process for the highest good. Thank you for joining me. Blessings.
Thank you, God, for everything. 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 Feel that in your heart. Thank you, God, for everything. 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 'Cause you know what? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, God, for everything. Thank you, God, for everything. Thank you, God, for everything. Thank you, God, for everything.
So thank you, everybody, for joining tonight. Thank you for having this experience together. Thank you again to Sarah, to Corey, and to Linda. What an incredible experience we've had here together. And thank you to Gino for the wonderful music. We have so many wonderful things happening here at Universal Spirit Center. Each night at 7 o'clock, you can go to the nightly meditation in the Zoom room. On Sundays, we have our Sunday gathering at 10 a.m. and you can go into the Zoom community room at 9:30 and also afterwards from 11 to 11:30 on Sundays. And this Friday, we have the Racial Equality Project is hosting movie night, and it's through Netflix and the Racial Equality Project. So check out our website for more information about how to get involved with that. And there's classes coming up. There's practitioners standing by to support you. There's lots of ways to be connected and lots of ways to support yourself as you're walking through this incredible storm of life that we're all experiencing. And so at this time when really in our world love is really in need of love today, as Stevie Wonder says, we're going to allow Gino to come back in and to lead us in the song of sending our love into the world. So I invite you to join in with Gino in the way that feels most comfortable to you. Blessings to all.
We are sending the love to you through all that is. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. Come on. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. Send joy. I send my joy over the mountains. I send my joy over the sea. I send my joy into the heavens, and it returns to me. Peace. I send my peace over the mountains. I send my peace over the sea. I send my peace into my heaven, and it returns to me. Now your radical thinking. I send my radical thinking over the mountains. I send my radical thinking over the seas. I send my radical thinking into my heaven, and it returns to me. Peace and blessings. I love you. I'll see you next week here on Awakening Wednesday. Thank you, and thank you again.